Sit back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, April the 10th, 2024. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Radio Pete and Mr. Harry Lug Nutz. How are you, gents, tonight?
What?
Huh? What are we doing?
Huh?
Is there? How do we do this? It's been forever.
It's been 3 weeks because we didn't do one last week. That's right.
Pete's in a NASA. Pete looks like he's in a NASA spaceship.
I think he is, actually.
This is remember in Apollo 13, the movie,
Right?
when they had to build something to like filter the CO2 out, so
right?
it wouldn't all die.
Right.
This is the room that they went into.
That's the room. That's
Really?
the room that Ed Harris was in,
Right.
putting everything together.
Yeah, it's like you got
I like
all
it.
got the hoses.
You keep bleeping like a NASA connection from 1986.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's actually in the lunar module going
I
around
know.
the moon right
I
now.
know. I know.
Right.
I am on the International Space Station right now.
Excellent. Congratulations. I'm glad they've relaxed their dress code.
Well, you got to stay comfortable. I mean, we're not allowed to wear shoes. We have to wear socks all the time. So I'm like, I'd
Sure,
go t-shirt
sure.
and boxers and socks.
That's right. Hey,
Exactly.
astronaut Pete.
Whew.
I love it.
Anyway,
All right.
at least we amuse ourselves.
We do. We amuse
I
ourselves.
can't say about anybody
That's the
else.
important.
That's true. All right.
So what's going on in the world of sports?
What's going on in the world? Well, what's going on in the world of drinks first? I'm actually gonna. I got a little ice left in this. I'm gonna make. I was just on a. Oh, this is so fantastic. I was just on a bourbon show briefly the other day, and I have to make another one. I'm using Sugar Bob's smoked maple syrup. I just using with bourbon and black walnut bitters. I'm just making a small one for this show. So
Are you going to put it on pancakes?
No. It's going in a drink. It's going in a drink.
See, folks, we're now prolonging having anything of substance. We're now mixing cocktails.
I'm mixing a cocktail on this show. Exactly.
Yeah.
Black walnut bitters, because you got to put some black walnut bitters in there, and just a little bit of bourbon. And then I can enjoy the memes that we're going to do before we even talk anything about sports.
Is this a mimosa?
We're going to do the memes. I thought we were skipping the memes.
No.
Hey, guess what I got in my
a couple of good ones for you. What do you have in your hydro flask? Water?
I've got some water.
Water? With what?
And
With water?
And I've got some 7-Eleven zero replenishment. It's like a Gatorade type drink, but it has no sugar and no carbohydrates.
Very
Powder, packaged powder stuff.
No, it's liquid,
Oh.
and it's actually pretty good. Oh, that looks good, John. I should put
I've stopped,
but it's actually pretty good. It's I would say it's pretty close to on par with like Gatorade Zero, but
Nice.
It's much less expensive. And of course, me trying to lose a few pounds,
good.
watching the carbs and the sugar.
Right.
Yet I need my electrolytes.
Mm-hmm.
You do.
So that's the way that I get them.
We do. I've been sniffing epoxy, and I feel fantastic.
That'll make it so you don't care.
I got to paint a bar top. I got to paint a 20-foot bar top with epoxy next week. So that's going to be fun. I'll be sniffing epoxy right along with you.
That'll be great.
Yeah. Have a few bourbons before you do it.
I may just do that. So.
Bourbon. Oof. Yikes. I can feel the burn from here.
It's actually a really good one. It's a vanilla maple bourbon that I bought in
Sure.
Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Sasquatch right there.
You know, there's people who drink clear liquors and there's people who drink brown liquors. And
both of those people are represented right here between
never
me and
the
you.
twain shall meet.
But we both enjoy beer, and you were drinking. You had me.
I don't drink that much beer. I enjoy.
Yeah, but
it.
you had me jealous of you last week drinking Cohesion. So.
Oh yes, a Cohesion Cerebral collab.
Oh,
Look at me! Look at me! I'm gonna have to put on a flannel shirt.
Yeah, really.
You got to grow that beard longer.
I just cut it so I don't look like what I see. What I used to look like in 1991 is what every fucking hipster looks like.
What
now.
every hipster douchebag looks like now.
Yeah. So now
Did you have a top knot or?
Yeah. So now I'm now I'm trying to go the opposite. It's like, although my flannel shirt was from Sears and was 17 years old, and theirs is from some boutique that their girlfriend.
But I bet you right now, if you still had it, you could
you'd
probably sell it for like $80 too.
Oh yeah, you'd be the fucking king of the hipsters with the vintage.
Man, Sears is not vintage. It's called.
They don't need to know you got it at Sears in 1982.
Just take the tag off and tell them it's an LLB, an original.
True.
What do they know?
That's exactly right.
I think they hold up as well. It's something about having the construction adhesive from framing houses.
Exactly.
Quite
Speaking of
needs.
Speaking of construction adhesive and framing houses,
yes.
There's Hart is playing at PNC again this year. Do you want to go?
No.
You need a good nap.
Yeah. Well, I like Hart.
I love Hart too, but you were tired that day from framing houses.
Well, let's put it in perspective, okay? We're talking Hart in the era of Hairspray, and What About Love?
It was 88, wasn't it? 87
so,
or 88.
They opened up with Barracuda, and then they went into. I woke up for the encore.
You did wake up for the encore. That you did, right?
And yeah.
So anyway, all right. Meme time.
In the meantime,
That's good for this segment.
Helmet. Before we get to that, very quickly, quick question.
Go for it.
How do we feel about going to see those bands now?
I still enjoy it. I go.
Let me prep it. Let me give you a quick detailed. The bands who were playing then, who are still around now, I would argue that they're better now because
they were.
So, and I'll give you two examples: Hart and Cheap Trick, who happen to play together a lot.
They're playing on this tour together. They're together, yeah.
So they're better now because they're not doing that 80s era stuff. They're playing one or two of those, but mostly new and old stuff that's more rocking. And
back to the 70s.
And they're playing smaller places and they just sound better. Mm-hmm. But yeah. It depends. I've seen bands that are, been around for a long time, and all of a sudden, they're playing bigger places again and they sound great. I've seen The Fix, a band from the early 80s that are better than ever. And then now you got bands from the 90s that we're talking 30 almost 35 years ago.
I see one band from the 90s because of it's Jess's favorite band. I see one band from the 90s every year. Yeah. And they're 30, like their first album came out 32 years ago.
Chickadee China. Yeah.
Chickadee China, the Chinese chicken. Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway.
But
I'd rather see Cheap Trick.
I would rather see Cheap Trick too, in all fairness. And I do like the guys. They're great musicians. Nice I met them. They're really nice guys too. They really are.
Yeah.
But what you call it? But I do like the Cheap Trick. The Robin Zander, the Rick Nielsen.
Saw them in Irving Plaza not that long ago.
Yes, you did. There you go. Speaking of bands, one more thing. Speaking of bands,
did we start? Is this going?
Speaking of bands,
okay.
Speaking of bands,
we're only 8 minutes.
Indeed.
A week from this Saturday, if you're in Denver or anywhere near Denver, a week from this Saturday, right there, Log album release. You take it away, Harry.
Saturday, April 20th, Mercury Cafe. Get your tickets now at bandwagonpresents.com. It's our new album, Dump Truck Sayonara. Look, this is a headline show for us at a really wonderful venue. If you are listening to this and are in the Denver area, please come out. We've got some new merch, and we'll be playing songs from our new album, and as well as some oldies, and as well as we'll be butchering some 80s songs. So what can go wrong?
What can go wrong? I might if I wasn't busy that day, I'd fly to Denver.
You're not busy. You're just
actually. I am I busy? I don't know. I might not be busy. Maybe I will. There you go.
Anyway,
I would be interested in seeing this show because I got to be honest, Log, hate the old stuff, but I'd love to check out the new stuff.
Right.
That song, "Babies Are Born Without Kneecaps," that's horrible.
Yeah.
That's. I mean,
there's a huge difference. I mean,
I hate it.
Our old stuff is very, synth pop, and our new stuff is
pop synth. And usually they go the other way, right?
Death metal, and
exactly.
I think recently,
killed
I think
metal.
recently we've been called cuddlecore. Yeah. So
Well, I'm definitely down with that.
That was
yeah,
good. And we definitely, Pete, you and I have to buy the hats. We definitely do because we got to wear them on the show.
Yes, we need the log hats.
We need log hats.
I think we should do a log hat and a bathrobe show.
all right.
I'm done with that.
Talking about doing a bathrobe show for a couple of years now, and I think log hats would be.
I thought you had been doing a bathrobe show.
I thought he was all the time too.
Do they allow that in space?
From the waist down, perhaps.
Do they allow bathrobes in space?
Well, it's always it's exactly.
By the way, bathrobes in space is a great name for a podcast.
Bathrobes in space. Done. Let me write that down. Bathrobes. Not
bathrooms. Bathrobes.
Bathrobes
in space. That's a completely different.
Anything in space.
Very uplifting.
Yeah, very uplifting. All right. It's meme time. In the meme time, as Harry just said. Yes. There we go. We're going to kick it off with this one. Here we go. Very suspicious supermarket.
Yeah,
at least they're honest.
But what I love about this, if you could see the picture, is that the awnings were not enough. They had to put an awning on the awning.
Right. Exactly.
And it's crooked.
Yeah, that looks like an advertisement for something.
Yeah. I know.
They're like, we don't want anyone seeing the.
By the way, I feel like we've seen this restaurant before with different signage on it.
It may very well be, I'm not sure, but it's a new one.
Well, it's very suspicious as a chain.
Yes.
They have locations in Queens, Tempe, Arizona, and Portland, Maine.
Exactly.
But they're growing.
What I love is the business next to it. That might be the most psychotic, happy face sunflower I've ever seen in my life.
It's pretty psychotic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like somebody that was drunk painted it.
Yeah, that's like
hand
painted. That's an acid shop right there.
Acid.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool. All right.
Very high as the sun here.
Very suspicious supermarket. All right, next one.
What do you think it was supposed to say?
I don't know. Let's go back to it. I think it was supposed to say very suspicious supermarket. Well, I don't know what those. I don't know.
Maybe it doesn't. Maybe suspicious doesn't translate very well. And
from Asian to
whatever this is,
whatever it's Korean or I'm not sure.
From Asian, yeah.
Looks maybe Taiwanese.
Well, it's an Asian culture. I'm not sure if it's Japanese or Chinese or Taiwanese or Korean or Vietnamese or whatever it is. It's not.
So let's list all Asian.
Let's list all Asian countries in this particular.
Yes. Yeah. All right.
Next. Here we go. All right. Whichever floor you're on, you'll find our service on another level.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, at first glance, that was a good. I think what happened was somebody said, wherever you are, you'll find our service on another level. And then in translation,
you'll find our service to be on another level.
Yeah. Or wherever you are, you'll find your service. The introduction of the floor, that sort of,
Whichever floor you're on, you'll find our service.
This is an ad that assumes a level of intelligence
of
its audience that is not there for probably
no. Exactly. This is the most elusive business of all time.
It's clever.
You'll and we don't know what they do, and you'll never know because
it's obviously. I mean,
wherever you are, there's somewhere else.
It's a multi-floor business, probably like a department store or something like that.
Right. Maybe hotels.
It could be.
Could be.
Great
hospital. Surgery,
exactly.
Where there would be a difference between what goes on.
I hope it's a life-saving business. I hope it's involved somehow in saving lives.
What is the picture there? Is it?
It looks like somebody's rolled cuffs with maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
so maybe it's a shirt factory.
I'm not quite sure. If it's surgery, if somebody's bleeding,
talk about suspicious.
They're running up and down the escalator saying, "Oh my God, I'm bleeding.
I'm on another level."
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's Cubert.
It's confusing.
Could be, right? Cubert. There you go. It's Cubert. There you go.
Levels. All right. It's levels, Jerry. It's all levels.
It's all another level.
All about levels.
It's all about the levels. All right. Next one. Easy home toilet seat now with soft cheese.
Yeah.
This is the first one that's actually made me laugh. Aldi finds limited time premium buys. Easy
home toilet seat with soft cheese.
Well, all right, let's break this down real quickly. Okay. The toilet seat with soft cheese. That's great. What does easy home?
Well, it's not an industrial model.
Right. It's a residential.
Not for an office.
Residential.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, easy, that could, I don't know. Maybe that's.
I mean, I guess the soft cheese tells you that you can only use it at home.
Yeah. It's got loose hinges. That might make it easy. Or
Yes, because that hard cheese is only for like an office or industry.
Right. Well,
light industry maybe.
If you had a toilet seat ringed with a Parmesan rind, you could probably get through it. But if you got a brie in there, or God forbid, some cottage cheese, or even a feta,
that's only going to fly at home.
Yeah. I just feel like I hope the seat is sort of looks like a bagel, and that the soft cheese is a cream cheese of sort. You know, that's what
if you slice cheese thin enough, just about any cheese could be soft.
True.
But this could be
it's all relative. I mean, almost all cheeses are softer than most toilet seats.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is true.
This is the toilet seat in the Monty Python cheese shop sketch, right?
Right, and $14.99 is not bad for
a bad price for a toilet seat. It's not.
No. Here's the thing that like I can just imagine Aldi having like a one of the jobs in the company is to go out and find these things, right? That we're going to sell in our store. And so some, young executive, some kid straight out of college comes in one day and he's like, "Hey, I found it. The easy home toilet seat with soft cheese. No one else has got it.
You know what I think?
84,000 of them in a warehouse."
I think it was supposed to be soft clothes, and somebody changed the L, O, and
we could get them for $8.99 each and sell them for $15.
Toilet seat with soft seat. I don't know, but
soft clothes.
Soft clothes.
Soft clothes. There you go.
Or a soft seat. Yeah, could be a soft seat.
And here's the thing, because when I need to buy a new toilet seat, the first thing I do is go to Aldi.
Well, I want to try. I want to check the expiration date on my toilet seat. Exactly. What is Aldi, by the way?
It's a supermarket that has off-name brands that save you money, and they're just most of them are pretty much just as good as any of the on-name brands that you're going to get in bigger stores. So
but sometimes you find something that let's just say you'll be happy for the soft seat.
This is true.
Because you'll be using it quite a bit.
Sometimes you'll
things at Aldi
expiration dates are suggested.
Pshaw.
Yes.
Pshaw.
Yeah.
All right. What's next, John?
All right. Next one up. Here we go. Please insert furiously.
Sure. Well, is there any other way?
This is I
would post
this is every 18.
Furiously, you're not
this is every 18-year-old boy's.
Of course.
Look, you get to a certain age, there's no inserting furiously, let alone sometimes there's no inserting at all. But there's nothing furious about any of this. Yeah.
Well,
if you're lucky enough to actually insert. Yeah, exactly.
You become more cautious when you get a little older.
Right. Yeah.
The more of those that attempt at furious insertion that winds up, resulting in bendage. You have a few of those, and you become more cautious.
It can hurt. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't really make anybody happy. I don't think.
Not so much.
Yeah. Furious insertion. Good album title.
No. Please insert furiously. That is a good album cover.
I think furious insertion is better.
Yeah. You know the Tenacious D song about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bleep her gently. Yes.
Yeah, those guys are right. It's not always about the hard blinking.
Sometimes,
Sometimes it is though.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Next one we got up here is Anus Burger.
Wow, well, this goes well with the soft cheese.
It goes well with the soft cheese.
Seems like we have one of these every week.
Yeah, Anus Burger. There you go.
Well,
not sure.
If you're gonna,
I'm assuming that it's a guy named like Joe Anus, right? And he's selling
Angus.
burgers.
It's Angus.
I'm sure the
Well, that's the thing. Is this a Scottish hamburger or was it supposedly made from a certain type of cow?
I mean, they very well could be an anus burger, and if you're gonna have an anus burger, then you cannot insert furiously.
No, you don't want to do that. You definitely don't want to do that.
Yeah.
If they can have rat burgers in Demolition Man, they can have anus burgers in 2024.
Well, you know what they say about the calamari, right? And what a lot of the calamari actually is
actually rectum. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, it's the rectum tube of the pig.
Octopus?
Pig.
No, of a pig, and they cut it up into rings and they serve it as calamari.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so they're not actually using octopi, huh?
No.
In fact, octopi is scungili, if memory serves.
I thought that was snail.
Calamari is
eel?
Squid.
Yeah,
Squid.
Yeah.
No.
So it's the two.
I know.
So my point is, though, if you can,
I knew it was a sea creature and not a pig's asshole.
Not a pig rectum, right?
Yeah, but if you can make calamari out of a pig's rectum, then you could make a burger out of some animal.
The rest of it, right?
Bob's anus. Yeah.
Bob's anus, right?
I mean, that's a big anus. That's
pretty big.
That's a lot of anus.
Pretty big anus. Yeah. Exactly.
Maybe
right.
It's a noose.
A noose burger. There's a little bit of a hint of a space there. So
this is
a noose burger.
It's a French product. A noose.
All right. Last one. Here we go. It is now hiring drivers' insides.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's a piece of pizza.
So they only want your small intestine to deliver the pizza. That's it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Or maybe they need a tester.
Or they need inside drivers. Only inside.
We're trying out some new pizzas and we need someone to test them. So we need your insides.
Exactly. We need just to know how it works inside your
exactly.
Your.
Can you eat this? System. Does it make you sick? Does it make
what do you think they were trying to now hiring drivers? I get, but what is the inside? What is that supposed to be?
Inside would be workers in the store.
Drivers and people that work inside the store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Inside workers.
That was my guess. Inside.
So
drivers and inside.
Yeah. It looks like there's a Band-Aid behind the sign too on the window.
I think the real travesty is
this door to remain unlocked when building is occupied. That's what it says.
Yeah.
So that's obviously on a door facing out. And
well, with the popularity of the new anus burgers, they needed some drivers.
But is it just me, or does it look like there's like bench bleacher seating in the background?
Oh, there's definitely bleeding.
Is that like a shadow from where it's facing, or is that inside?
That's a good question.
I don't know. I don't really care.
I don't really care either.
Well, plus they've covered up the safety warning. You can't read it from the inside.
Right. And if you look between the R and the S of drivers, there's definitely a Band-Aid.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Okay.
All right. Well, there's the the memes.
There's the memes. All right.
In the meanwhile, there you go.
Don't encourage them.
There you go. All right. Fair enough. All right. Well, we get the basketball background up. Let's talk basketball. Let's talk NCAA tournament, both men's and women's. Let's chat about that. What do you want to? You want to start with men's, or you want to start with women's?
Let's start with the one that blew the other one out of the water.
Let's start with women's.
There
you go.
The best team won. Maybe one of the best teams in the history of women's basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Deep, tall, long, great defensively, and a great coach. 3-time national champion. And Caitlin Clark, what can you say? One of the most influential, if the not most influential female basketball player. We'll see if that translates to the WNBA. I saw a Goof ad today that said Caitlin Clark tired of the spotlight and wants to settle into obscurity in the WNBA. And there's a bit of truth to that. The WNBA for
she's probably going to go to Indiana, right? They're going to have the first pick. So
and there's never been a better place to the Indiana Fever. Is that what it is?
I think it's something like that. Yeah.
Look, I think if there's one person who could try to get people over from college into the WNBA, it's her. And then there's a couple people that have been barking and telling her she's going to have a wide awakening. You know, some 42-year-old players on their last legs who are saying she's going to have a hard time. So, you know, you need the villain. You need the Caitlin Clark hero. We've got a great class coming into the WNBA. I actually watch a lot of WNBA, so I think I'm an anomaly. There's a lot of empty seats. And but the people who all of a sudden were going to see these women of LSU or South Carolina or Iowa at college games, you know, maybe they can hit an arena of choice in July and support the WNBA. I don't have a WNBA team here in Denver. I wish we did. But you know, I think it'll be interesting to see if she can, you know, if these women, the Angel Reeses of the world and the Caitlin Clarks if this will translate onto the next level. And maybe it will. We shall see.
We shall.
I'll just say this very quickly, just throw out a quick number at you. Average for the final game was 18.7 million viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Peaked at 24 million, which was about 10 million more than the men's final. So people were interested in this. And 24 million, if I'm not mistaken, that was more than World Series games.
Yeah.
And I also heard today that is more than some regular season NFL games.
I bet it was more than the average per game NBA finals as well.
Yeah.
And it was more than the NBA finals last year. It was more than the any World Series game last year. It was more than most football games last year.
Yeah.
There was some Sunday night games that
so there were a lot of people watching this. And,
right. It's the one and done nature of these games, which makes it more exciting. The other thing, correct me if I'm wrong, in the past, I think haven't they had the women's final after the men's final?
No, it's always before. It's always before. It's always men's are on Monday night, women's are on Sunday night. So the women's.
No, this wasn't Sunday night. This was Sunday
night. The women's finished first, and then the men finished the day after. But that never happened.
What I'm saying is 1:00 Mountain Time on a Sunday. I think it was prime time viewing, and it was, you know,
it was on a Sunday. It was 3 p.m. Eastern time, and across the rest of the country.
The men's game. True. I was actually shocked that it wasn't prime time. Honestly,
yeah,
it was.
Well, I
think they got it right.
No,
look,
I think they did.
I think they got it right because a lot of people.
There wasn't anything else really going on,
and there's a lot of kids watching this.
There was some bowling and some, paddle tennis. But
pickleball tournament was
no competition.
About the men's game, you can't start the men's final at fucking 9:30 at night on the East Coast.
No, that's ridiculous.
You just can't do it. The Super Bowl is the biggest sporting event in the universe.
I mean, don't cater to the fact that they're in Arizona, right? Don't cater to the fact that they're in Arizona, so you got to start it at 6:30 in Arizona. Started at 5:30 in Arizona. It's got to start at 8:30 or so.
Yeah, it's the freaking final. People are going to watch it.
Exactly.
Don't.
But I will.
Especially because, all right, or if you're gonna start it at least at 9, or you know what I mean, 8:45. Don't drag it out until 9:30 with this endless back and forth, cutting to the studio and then showing them warming up. You don't need all that Super Bowl hype.
Here's the other
for this
thing,
kind of game.
Right. Here's the other thing that helps: familiarity. All right, we had LSU with Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark in Iowa, Part 2. Okay, we had a redemption game with South Carolina, who had lost to Iowa the game before. Now, granted, there was a lot of, but their faces and the teams are familiar, and the women stay longer, they play for longer, a lot of them play full 4 years, and that helps the women's game as compared to the men's game, which
but I would also say a lot of that interest was initially generated or is a byproduct or an addition because of Caitlin Clark.
Right.
Caitlin Clark is the needle that brings people in. And then they learn those backstories and they learn that history, or they're watching her for the last couple of years. Now we're going to see who's going to be not that I like this phrase, the next Caitlin Clark, not necessarily as far as the what she does on the court, but who's going to be the next?
Well, I'll tell you who was the previous. I'll tell you who was the previous Caitlin Clark, and that was Diana Taurasi.
Right.
And I love Diana Taurasi, but she didn't move the needle as far as viewership in the WNBA.
Right, and hopefully some of those people will continue to watch the women's game and continue to watch the NBA. But you're right, we learned about those stories and we learned about those. Those rivalries and all that. And look, neither one of these games, honestly, was a really good game.
Right.
You know, they were both blowouts.
Well they said the Friday night game with are you talking about the two to
I'm
men's
talking about
and
the
women?
finals, the men's and women's finals.
The women's game was a lot better.
Well, women's game was better.
Was better, but it was still a
men's game was good in the first half, but then
the women's
first
game,
quarter. The first half of the first.
It wasn't officially over until one swing in the fourth, but yeah,
exactly.
But it was game. It was and the men's game, the last 10 minutes were really just how
that was stupid. Yeah,
sort of.
Look,
but I will say this: what was interesting, I find, is what South Carolina did, and they were the better team, no question. Is they said we're gonna bury Caitlin Clark. We're gonna chase her around. We're gonna put somebody on her. We're gonna chase her around. We're gonna deny her. Let the rest
from the second quarter on. Yeah,
right.
Raven didn't cover in the first quarter, but yeah,
right. She put up 18 in the first quarter, and they said, okay, we gotta. UConn basically did the same thing, not with any one player, or they sort of did the opposite thing, and they said, let Edey have all the twos he wants. We're going to guard him one-on-one down low. We're going to take away the three-point shot from the best three-point shooting team in the country, or one of the best, and they average 8 or 10 or whatever it is, or they average, I think, making 8, and they took 7 shots and only made 1. So it was just this one element of each game. So on one side, he said, we're going to stop Caitlin Clark as much as we can and let the rest of the team beat us, or force them to beat us, I should say. Right. And on the men's side, they said, we're going to let Edey have all the twos. They're not going to win that way. They can't. He can't score 75 points. And what was interesting was Purdue, especially late in the game. I mean, is there just no way that you can get a halfway decent 3-point shot? They just kept going down low and low and say, all right, we'll give it to Edey. He'll get 2, and then we'll get a stop. But they weren't getting the stops.
What both South Carolina and Connecticut have in common is that their perimeter defense is phenomenal. Now, on South Carolina's side, even more so than LSU, they're enormous and they're deep. And the depth is what hurt Iowa.
Connecticut, I heard today,
while the defense was
Connecticut is 6'4".
Right. While the defense was better for South Carolina, Caitlin Clark lost her legs.
She did.
She was hitting the front of the rim.
Yep.
And she was fatigued. And that's to be expected with less than a full 24 hours off, and probably not sleeping really well coming up to the second national championship game you're playing for in your last college game. So it's just depth has a lot to do with it. I think it was the same thing with Purdue. It's just typically when you have a team that's deeper and more versatile. Look, you look at South Carolina, nobody jumps out off the stat sheet. You watch the game and you could see everybody had a role. Same thing with Connecticut. They have great players, but no one's scoring 40. No one's scoring 37. Right. They're scoring 14. They're scoring 10. They're scoring 8. Somebody's rebounding. Somebody's coming in. When they always had a fresh body on people, and that made the difference on both sides.
And they were just a better team. So
in both cases. In both cases,
right.
I said before the Iowa game, I was rooting for Iowa, but I said I think South Carolina wins by 10.
Oh no, I knew South Carolina was winning. Absolutely.
I thought the spread was low.
On Saturday night on SNL last week, or this past Saturday night. Speaking of the Friday night game, the Iowa UConn game, it was a 14.2 million viewership. Right, obviously it was more for the final for the women's, but they said the women's final between Iowa and UConn was 14.2 million viewership, blowing away all former records of viewership for women's college basketball finals by 14.2 million. That was the joke. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, the previous year was, I don't know what the numbers were, but I'll tell you what, that was good too. And
the previous year was very good. Absolutely. 100%. No. I thought it was funny that they said that. The thing they should have said was like with the women finishing before the men every year. With the women
I don't think Saturday Night Live wants to talk about ratings.
No, they don't. But they the cold open was actually the finals, the NCAA March Madness finals. Anyway. But I would have said with the women finishing before the men, it's the only time anywhere all year, every year that happens.
Yeah, that's not funny. Yeah. The delivery,
John.
Delivery.
Well, I was trying to get it out before anybody else.
Now that's funny.
That's funny.
All right, let me ask you guys this, because Danny Hurley said the other day that he thinks like he feels that this back-to-back by UConn is more impressive than anyone else who's gone back-to-back.
Bullshit.
Because he lost 3 starters between last year and this year.
Bullshit.
Yeah, but so did all the other competition.
Right.
So is it more impressive than Kareem losing 3 games in 3 years and winning 3 national titles? Yeah. Is it more? It's not. It's not. No, it's not. Now it's impressive and it's great. And I think Danny
it's 100% impressive.
Absolutely. I think Danny Hurley has done a great job, but he's reaching.
Yeah.
I don't think he's thinking
every
about
team. You show me one team, one college team that made the finals that didn't lose seniors from the year before.
Right.
Because what he was saying is in the past, like
you've had carryover
when Florida did it and whatever,
right.
They got to keep. They had guys that stayed. It wasn't one and done. But the point is, everybody had players that stayed.
Right.
So, it's not like everyone, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, and as you said, everybody's losing. Now, let me throw this one little stat at you because I heard this today and I found this to be amazing. Speaking of impressive. So, in these 2 championship runs by the UConn men's team, 12 games, right? 12 victories.
Yeah. All double digits. I heard this today. It blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
In the second half of all 12 of these games, let's do a little. I can't even give you an over or under. Just take a guess at how much game time Connecticut was behind in
0.
The second half of all 12 of these games.
0.
Okay. More than 0.
1 minute and 35 seconds.
A little bit less than that.
1 minute.
It was 53 seconds.
Yeah. And that was, I think, an early game, too.
It was last year, the first 2 games of the tournament last year.
I know this year they were never behind in the second half.
Right. No. One game they were behind for like 38 seconds, and another game they were behind for whatever.
Okay. And that last year, that makes sense.
So they went 10 straight games after that in the tournament, never trailing in the second half.
Here's
that
what
blew my mind when I heard that.
Here's what I will say about Danny Hurley. I mean, obviously, we all know he comes from a family of, obviously a coach's family. But I don't know if there's ever been anybody with success right out of the gate like he has, at a major program.
Well, and they were talking about that today.
And he's got to be. He's also, I think, probably got to be on the men's side. If I'm a kid, I want to go play for Danny Hurley. Why would I want to play for anybody else?
Right. Yeah. Well, they were saying Billy Donovan had 2 when he was young, maybe a little younger than Hurley, or about.
Well, I'm talking because Hurley won in his second year or first year as a head coach. How many years has he been coaching Connecticut? Yeah,
this was his third. It's the second year.
Yeah.
So what my point being is, I don't think anybody's won in their second season as a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, right, and then won back to back.
Right.
But they were saying there are like Pitino has 2. Like, I think Rick Pitino, one of the greatest, he's got 2.
Yeah.
And they were talking about Donovan, who had back to back with Florida, and he had his 2. He was young, around the same age, but they were saying what you just said, Connecticut, that's going to be the place to go.
Absolutely.
Right? It's already something of a dynasty.
I mean, because he understands this new breed of kid. He's obviously getting them to buy into something. And boy, if I'm a kid who's on the bubble and not a superstar, but I'm good, I'm going to raise my stock at the next level by going and playing for UConn.
Sure.
So we could, we could be looking at. Well, I mean, there's.
Has there ever been a three-peat? Has there ever been a three-peat in the tournament?
Yeah, John Wooden.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of the tournament, speaking of college, and speaking of Caitlin Clark before, not taking anything away from her because I think it was fantastic what she did. But I started reading. I never read it before. It's not a new book by any means.
Actually, by the way, UCLA won 7 in a row.
There you go. I started reading that.
Yeah. Well, let's hope she's not Pistol Pete because he didn't really translate that career. I mean, he had an okay NBA career.
Yeah, it was good. It was right. Solid.
But there's a lot of commonality. Imagine if there was a 3-point line when he was around.
She would have never beat him if there was a 3-point line when he was around. And he had an extra year. He had the 4th year. Yeah. So but no, I take nothing away. I say that with no disrespect to Caitlin Clark. I think it was fantastic what she did. She's a pure shooter, just like he was, just like Steph Curry is.
But she's going to the WNBA. She's got to have something of a target on her back.
Right. Here's the one.
We're going to find out if she's
right. Here's I'm sure she's heard this before, but I've watched a lot of Caitlin Clark, and there is one thing that frustrates me about her. If she could develop a floater or a 12-foot fucking jumper in the lane, she would have averaged 50 points a game. She cannot make anything from mid-range.
No, she's a layup or a three or
just
3-point
incredible.
shot.
I mean, I know. Look, it's not a criticism. I'm just saying she's young. She could learn this.
Yeah.
But if she could just develop a little stop and pop floater or shot put jumper, she'll be unstoppable.
Yeah, but think about the situation she's going into. Now I don't know where. Look, obviously, well, I don't know the standings of the WNBA. I would imagine Indiana, since they're having the first pick, is not a particularly good team. But they're still professional players, and it's going to be a higher level.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot more size.
Right, but there's going to be a lot more skill than Iowa Hawkeyes.
And there's also
going to have a lot more help around her.
Right, exactly. So she won't have to do so much. She's also a great passer. She can shoot. We know that. So maybe she won't have to quite carry.
Yeah, and look,
there's also going to be a lot of other players that around the league that leave teams over the years that are going to want to play with her, and they're going to go. And
maybe future players, not current players.
Well, whatever. 6-1.
Yeah, I will say this too. There were passes. She had some bad passes. She just turned it over.
Current players that are leaving the team the team don't, that's what I'm saying.
But she also put the ball in people's hands where all they had to do was lay it up and they just couldn't. So I mean,
that's what I'm saying. You're going to have she's going to have a lot of help around her and a lot of players that are going to be able to make those shots and be able to do some things more consistently than college players do.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. All right.
Good luck to her.
Cool. Well, it was fantastic. I will say that the three of us, hold on, I got to pull this up. The three of us were absolutely horrible in picking who we thought were going to go to.
Well, Pete had UConn,
right?
I picked UConn as well.
Yeah, and I had UConn in the final. I just thought Houston would beat them.
Yeah, so Pete had.
It was terrible. I threw out the sheet the other day. That's how bad it was. I didn't want.
And we were horrible. I'll tell you what. I was good in the early rounds, which I'm usually not. And then it got to the later rounds and fucking.
All right, the three of us all had UConn in the East. All right, and Pete and I had UConn winning, and Harry had Houston winning. But every other team we had did not make the Final Four.
No.
So,
right. I mean, I think I was floundering between Arizona and Purdue. They were in the same region, right? And I said, which one is? And I said, oh, Purdue's going to flop. Arizona's going to. I got that wrong.
You had no. You had Purdue. No. You had Purdue in the Final Four.
I did. Okay.
You did. You had Purdue in the Final Four.
Okay.
You had no. Midwest was Purdue. They weren't in the same.
Okay,
You had Arizona. You had UConn, Houston, Arizona, and Purdue.
Okay.
Pete had UConn, Houston, Baylor, and Texas. I had UConn, Marquette, UNC, and Creighton.
So I got 2 out of the Final Four, right?
You got 2 out of the Final Four.
I think I did the worst.
But yours were gone before mine. Your 3 were gone before totally before mine.
Yeah.
And,
I think
Harry
you
had
also
2 in the Final Four.
I think you also picked a team that wasn't in the tournament to win the Midwest.
he had Fairleigh Dickinson in the Final Four, right?
I thought this was their year.
College in there.
I thought the Generals were due.
Upsala. He had Upsala. That's not even a college anymore.
I know. That's why it's funny.
That's great.
It's a hospital now or something, isn't it?
It's a hostel, a youth hostel now. Yeah,
it's a hospital.
No, it's a hospital.
A hospital. That's right. Well,
yeah. Anyway, all right.
Who do you guys think was the biggest disappointment of the men's tournament?
For me, Marquette and Creighton not making the Final Four.
I think it's got to be Kentucky.
UNC. I'd say probably tie between the two, Kentucky and UNC.
And I will say this: I enjoyed watching CU. I mean, I know the men didn't get as far as the women, but CU went up against a tough Iowa team. It wasn't really all that close, but I think the CU women's team, they got a bright future.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, we will.
It's nice to see basketball at the University of Colorado, seeing both teams in the tournament again.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. Absolutely. So, all right, cool. All right, let's
listen. I would have to say Kentucky.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And I mean, so much so that their coach left.
Well, let's touch on that a little.
Well,
bit.
Yeah. I mean, there's that.
So, was that not the weirdest? Okay, so my understanding of
they hate him there. They hate him.
Yeah, he quits. He quits, and then it gets leaked, and then he's asking to come back, and then he does the strangest video of all time where he talks about him and his wife. Decided that it's time for a different voice at Kentucky. I'm like, you're not the governor. You're the basketball coach.
Yeah.
Well, in all fairness to him, pretty much the state of Kentucky, the University of Kentucky basketball coach is pretty much kind of close to the governor.
Yeah.
They're on the same level-ish,
Yeah. And he's going to go to Arkansas?
It's a basketball school.
Arkansas?
Yeah, look, they're this second best team in the conference.
Yeah.
So, it's still a step down. But they didn't. I don't know if they were going to get rid of him, but I tend to think they were going to. I think they said.
I think he was done. So him quitting was, putting the kibosh on being fired.
They hate him there. They're sick of him. So.
Yeah.
But look, if he, what I heard people talking about was he wasn't ready or didn't want to or didn't have the energy or something to rebuild the team. You know what I mean? To go through all that long process.
No, he's going to have to go through that in Arkansas too.
Yeah, but he's going to be
a lot of these older coaches are just out of touch. Speaking,
yeah, well, I think that's part of it too. But if he wins a couple games, or at least one game against Kentucky every year,
and there you go,
he's got something to hang his hat on.
Well, he should. I mean, he's one. Anyway, speaking of great coaches, I'd also like to just congratulate Tara Vanderveer, the winningest coach of all time in NCAA basketball history, on a wonderful career. And as she retires after 38 seasons, damn. So, I think we have to got to acknowledge what she's done for the game as well. There's some great.
How close is Oriama to her?
Was he 7 wins behind or something crazy?
Less, I think even less. Yeah, he'll pass her.
Yeah.
But look, she's done it for a long time. She's had a big spell there. Stanford has always been there, And she also led the U.S. team to Olympic gold, and
at least
so
one or
she,
two. Gold
she had a big gap between national championships, so she's been at it a long time.
Yeah.
And Gino Auriemma will probably pass her. I don't think he's going to retire anytime soon.
No, he's not.
But still, and when you're in the same conversation as Mike Krzyzewski and Gino Auriemma, but I think if you were to ask most people who's the winningest NCAA basketball coach of all time, Tara Vanderveer's name might not pop up on many people's tongues. So anyway, congratulations.
Congratulations to her. Absolutely. 100%. So, all right, cool. That was a great take on that. Let's skip NBA for a second. Let's pop into baseball for a moment.
Baseball,
yeah.
Baseball have been very good.
Baseball have been very, very good.
You guys are still watching?
Baseball have been.
I haven't watched the game yet.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Have not watched the game yet.
Baseball have been very, very good to me.
No, the Mets need Chico Escuela.
I think the Mets do need Chico Escuela.
Uh-huh.
There you go. Anyway, I was all right. I got a couple things I want to talk about. If we did this show last week, when obviously we didn't skip the extra week, then I would have had my rant on the Mets, losing the first 5. But I digress.
They're not losing. They're not losing tonight.
They're not losing tonight because they're not playing tonight, so it'll be made up another day. But they did lose. They did lose last night. It was a moral victory, but I mean, they did come back from being six runs down. 6-0. But they came back and almost tied the game at the bottom of the ninth. But Pete Polar Bear struck out, but he was responsible for getting to 5 runs in the first place. But
hey, they're only 3.5 games out of first place.
Look, you know what? It's still early in the season, and the game they won on Monday night against Atlanta was fantastic. That was a great game. I will say Julio Teheran was signed on Sunday, pitched on Monday, was DFA'd on Tuesday. So, that's that game they won on Monday. He actually started.
I believe they call that a cup of coffee.
He had a cup of coffee with the team and then left.
Yeah.
That's called a soft cheese toilet seat.
Soft cheese toilet seat, exactly. But so I won't do my rant because they're doing whatever they're doing. And look, hey, we don't have much expectation for this team right now because clearly they want. They're looking at the future. They're looking at the farm system and everything else, and whatever it is. But just, I said it before. Pete said it when we did our show a few weeks ago, the MLB kickoff show. I just want to be competitive, just some fun baseball. Just I don't want them to be out of it by the All-Star break. Just have some fun. That's it. That's all I expect. But in any event, I was at opening day. All right, I was at opening day on at Citi Field, and I have to say that's what my rant's going to be about. Okay.
I'll be back in 20 minutes.
No, that's not going to be long. It's not going to be long. Here's the thing. All right. I love the Mets. I do. All right.
He loves the Mets.
All right. The opening ceremony was good. Harry Rose was on the field announcing everybody. It got the juices flowing. There was some stuff up on the Jumbotron. It was really cool. It was good. I got that. But from that point on, I was bored. And not just because the Mets had one hit. And that one hit was a Starling Marte solo home run. Okay. I was bored because they did nothing at the stadium. They did even less than they normally do.
What do you need? A soft,
soft cheese toilet seat. I mean, while I'm sitting there.
Toe tap dance?
Exactly. No, here's the thing. There's stuff to bring excitement. And the first thing is going to be, and I know this is,
organ music?
Go either way. No. Let me talk. Here we go. The national anthem. Right.
Okay.
Right. Now that's not something that usually would be building up the excitement for the game, but you can do you can sing a national anthem and have a certain amount of emotion to it, so it's like powerful to a point to get the game going, right? But opening day, Steve Cohen hired 2 violinists to play the national anthem. All right, now
was one of them Yo-Yo Ma?
One of them's Yo-Yo Ma. No,
he's jealous.
Now, mind you. They were fantastic. Like their skills at playing the violin were fantastic.
Sure.
But not for that particular use, if you will. All right. They had no other instrumentation. It was just two violinists playing the national anthem.
You were looking for
Opening day.
Nicki Minaj.
I did not Nicki Minaj. No, I wanted, Whitney Houston would have been nice.
She's dead. But,
Well, I said it would have been nice. In any event,
somebody with a rousing version of our national anthem,
right? Just a little emotion,
Like I said, Nicki Minaj.
Right. So anyway, and then
rousing.
They had the public address announcer, which was not the same voice, obviously, as the call. Next up announcer.
Now, Batty.
Had just the woman that came on, and not because she was a woman by any means. She had the most monotone, boring voice that I've ever heard. And then the PA announcer that announced the next batter, they decided that they were not going to announce the away team's batters.
Oh,
okay. So they're only announcing the Mets batters. Okay. So while the Mets are in the field, while the Mets are on defense and at the top of the inning, if you will, all right, silence in the ballpark, literal silence in the ballpark. Right. It was so boring. It was like, what the fuck am I doing here? This is opening day? This is not opening day. It was really boring. And here's the kicker. And this is what really drove it home for me, that I was bored that day. Like, I still had fun because it was a Met game. We went over to the brewery that's in the stadium afterwards, met some friends over there. I had a couple beers. It was still a fun atmosphere, right? I enjoyed it. Right. I did enjoy it. But here's the kicker that drove it home for me when after the fact. 2 days later on Sunday, on Easter, okay, we went to, and this was not my choice, all right? We went with family to Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia for a Phillies-Braves game.
Excellent.
All right, on Easter. All right. Now, while I wasn't sitting there rooting for either team, I was just enjoying the day. Had a couple beers, had some cheesesteaks, whatever. It was ridiculously fun atmosphere.
Of course.
If you were a Phillies fan, you were having a blast. Did
they hide eggs?
Yeah, right. No, they did not. But it was literally they got the crowd into it. It was literally a fun atmosphere. So while I'm sitting there as a Mets fan at a Phillies-Braves game in Philadelphia, not enjoying the game either way, hoping it ends in a tie some way, obviously. It was literally fun. It was a fun day. Right. So that pissed me off about opening day 2 days earlier even more. So that's my rant. That's it. I'm done.
All right. I'm going to say one quick thing about the Mets.
Go for it.
And we'll see if I'm right or if I'm wrong. Means we'll see that I'm wrong. But when the Doubledays and the Wilpons co-owned the team, and then the Wilpons stepped away.
Yep.
Right? They sold their interest.
The Doubledays stepped away.
The Doubledays. Sorry. And the Wilpons took over. I said to my wife at that time, the wrong family just took over this team. And we see the results of that. And as much as I hate to be gloom and doom and a naysayer, even though it's my natural state of being, I'm going to say this right now. This team, the New York Mets, the organization, I don't mean the team that we have this year. I mean this organization will never win a World Series as long as Steve Cohen is the owner.
Wow. You guys were loving on Steve Cohen.
The mojo.
Years ago.
We love his money. The mojo is still bad in New York. And just look back at the previous couple of seasons, right? The start, the collapse, the ridiculousness, the pitching, the this and that, all, that's just not good. Owners have two responsibilities. Owners of Major League Baseball teams, in my mind. Number one is to hire the right people to run things. Unless they themselves have come up through Major League Baseball and been a player or at least an executive at some levels, and they end up owning a team. But that's really not the case with owners. There isn't a single owner who's come up through the ranks of any Major League team and now owns it.
Okay.
Maybe a minority owner, but so they have two responsibilities. One is to hire the right people to do the job. And number two is to get the fuck out of their way.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, along with the hiring them, if they're not getting the job done, you replace them. I just don't think Steve Cohen is good at this. I don't think he's good at it.
He's micromanaging a little too much.
Well, yeah, I don't necessarily think he is to the level of Jerry Jones. I don't know if he's ever gone to the team and said, I want that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Get him. But he might be hinting at some of that. Again, I don't know. That's speculation. But this organization is just not run well.
No.
And I just don't think Cohen, as much as he's a fan and we love Uncle Steve and we're all hoping, he just might not be very good at being an owner. Now, maybe he'll learn, or maybe he'll get lucky and hire the right people.
This is his fourth season, right?
I think so.
This is fourth season, yeah.
Yeah. So, and the results have not been good, right?
No?
The results have not been good. Even when we get to the playoffs.
We won 101 games 2 years ago, so I would say they were good, but
yeah,
it was a late season collapse, right? We should have won more than that, beat Atlanta, and not played
collapses, and then an absolute debacle of a playoff series.
Right.
Right? That's what we have.
Right.
I don't know if he's capable of being a good owner, and I just don't think they're ever going to win anything as long as he's the owner. And he could be the owner for another 40 years.
Now, the only
thing we might have a long wait.
The only thing I will say to that, all right, is I'm hoping, like at first I was totally thrilled that David Stearns was hired as the president of baseball ops. I was and then I'm like, okay, well, he didn't make any moves. What the hell did he do? Okay, is he a plant? Like, conspiracy theorist in me took over. But
right,
I'm thinking now, based on some thoughts previous, for the last couple of weeks, and keying with you're just saying, maybe he gets it. And that's why they didn't make the moves this year. And there was no expectations. And he didn't want to put a Band-Aid with some high-priced players and maybe win another 101 games and then blow it in the first round of the playoffs.
And they tried that with a couple of pitchers and it didn't work.
Right, exactly. Right. And that was Steve Cohen's doing with Billy Epler. And obviously it was Steve Cohen's doing. It wasn't Billy Epler, right? But, so I think what he's trying to do now is build from within. The farm system is stacked. I mean, the Mets have one of the best farm systems in the league.
Yeah,
bring them up, and I just the only question I have in my mind, and I'm going to give him time because he's only managed 11 games, is Carlos Mendoza. I'm not saying they should have kept Buck.
Buck didn't want to stay,
but Buck didn't want to stay, and I don't know if Mendoza was the right.
Buck's overrated.
Right, and I don't know if Mendoza was the right choice.
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I didn't say he's not. I said I don't know if he is. So
if you think Buck is not the right guy to oversee a rebuild, that's a perfectly legitimate and probably correct.
Although he's one of the masters at rebuilding.
Well, maybe in the past, maybe not so much anymore.
But he's one of the masters at rebuilding and then leaving for somebody else to come in and win a World Series.
Right. Maybe not in the analytics age. Maybe he's not such a master anymore. But if that's your plan, why would you hire someone that is a question mark in that capacity?
Right.
You want to bring it. Okay, we're going to rebuild. We failed. We had Scherzer and Verlander, and that didn't work out, and that was an embarrassment. Okay, we're going back to the drawing board. But we're going to rebuild. We've got to. Why would you then bring in a neophyte to coach this team that you're trying to rebuild?
And why would you not? Look, the Mets are very quick to go out and get the talent. They're also very quick to give up on it.
Yep.
And now they're sort of a little schizophrenic. They were very quiet this offseason. And I'm looking at their lineup and going, all right. I mean, I don't know when Alonso's contract's up, but
this year.
That's going to be a big one. I think
Alonso, I'm going to tell you right now. In 2025, Pete Alonso's playing for another team.
Yeah, he'll be gone.
He's not on the Mets.
And you know what? I think that's a smart move.
Right, but the Mets, MO with talent in the past was to hang on to it for too long.
Right. But right now, Okay, other than the Lindor signing, which I remember you guys, at least one of you, doing backflips on your soft cheese toilet seats over there when you got him. Not so impressed. I think Starling Marte was probably your best signing.
He was the best signing, but right. Lindor's a solid player, and he's a rocket. I think the best signing in the last 3 years for the Mets is Brandon Nimmo.
Yeah, well, he's hitting 211, but no. The reality of it is I look at this lineup, and it just doesn't scare me like their lineup did 3 years ago.
And
their results are pretty much
not too far away from the same lineup it was 3 years ago.
They don't have the guys. They don't have the pitching, and they don't have the.
Who are the guys that you're rebuilding around on this team? Right? Nobody.
Yeah.
Is it Lindor? Is he the
who is your Anthony Volpe?
Yeah.
Who is your? I understand it takes time for this farm system to mature, but
there'll be 2 or 3 of those farm boys up by the end of the season.
Yeah. You might be right.
But see, then you get
Acuna will be up. The one guy they got from the one guy they got from Rangers. From Houston. And
but then you get into this situation. Then you get into the situation that the Mets find themselves in so often, which is all these little pieces have to fall into place.
Yeah.
Right? These
the
3
puzzle
young
has
players,
to be right there.
Right. These 3 young players have to mature, and this guy has to have a bounce back season, and this guy has to had a breakout season, has to continue, and when all those pins don't fall the right way, then you end up with a disappointing season.
And when was the last time? When was the last time the Mets had 3 really good contributing players in their everyday starting lineup that came from their farm system?
1986.
Yeah, there you
go. I'm kidding.
You're not far off. That's they're not known for their for that sort of approach. So it's interesting.
When we were jamming on instruments in my parents' basement. That's
right. It was a long time ago, and even then, it was like they went out and got a lot. Keith Hernandez did not come up in the Mets farm system. Okay, he was an ex MVP who they signed in free agency. So the Mets' success,
co MVP. He was co MVP that
year. Right. Well, all right, whatever. Jesus Christ. Anyway, yeah. And this year's big offseason signing, who I like, Harrison Bader. So there you go. That's my point.
Yep.
I do. Yeah.
He's a block. He's a block in the rebuild.
He's a block in the rebuild. He gave a 1-year contract. I don't think he's that much of a block in the rebuild.
Well, he's a good
if he doesn't work out, then they get a new block. It's practical. Being practical.
Right.
Well, I think it's my take on it is that the Mets went from being a team that wanted to compete with the Dodgers to being a team now that's not really doing anything. I don't see the rebuild that John talks about, and I don't see
the rebuild's in the minors.
Right now. But you know what I'm saying. We don't see the results of that yet.
Yeah.
I feel like the Mets are the worst of both worlds right now.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. On one other thing on the Mets, really quick, if you notice somewhere in number 16.
Yeah, who's that, John?
That would be Dwight Gooden.
Dwight Gooden.
Dr. K.
Is this the day we're celebrating his
Sunday, this coming Sunday at Citi Field is Doc Gooden's jersey retirement day. They're retiring number 16. All right. They're retiring that number. I'll be there. So however, I just wanted to bring up, if you recall, you were not on the show that night. Pete and I did a show with Dennis, the gentleman that started the K Corner. Probably about 3 years ago we did that show now, right, Pete? We had him
a decade ago.
Yeah, I know. We had him on the show. They did a special. SNY did a special on Doc Gooden, leading up to this jersey retirement, where they aired it last week. Or 2 weeks ago, or something like that. Right, but opening day they edited. And Dennis was on the show. SNY actually went to his house, interviewed Dennis. I did find out from Dennis the other day Dennis will not be at the game on Sunday. He's not going. But they a local artist built a 6-foot K that as people walk into the rotunda, they're going to be asked to sign it. And it's going to be presented to Doc Gooden, and it's in honor of Dennis's K corner. So that's pretty cool. And
is the back of the shirt going to have the Yankees on it?
The back of the shirt is not going to have the Yankees on it. But what's fun? It's funny you say that because
one World Series each.
It's funny you say that, and a no-hitter for the Yankees, but none for the Mets. But
that's on Doc Gooden no-hitter day. They'll do that at Yankee Stadium.
But here's the thing, though.
Are there going to be little baggies?
I'm listening. No, that's all done. I'm listening to the Fan today as I'm driving up to the brewery, and on Boomer and Geo this morning, and they're talking about the jersey retirement day on Sunday, right? And they break for commercial. When they came back from commercial to continue talking about Doc Gooden's jersey retirement day at Citi Field for the Mets, the sounder that they played was John Sterling announcing Doc Gooden's no-hitter for the Yankees. To come back in to the segment that it's jersey retirement for the Mets. I mean, who did that? Obviously, the engineer, the board op. The board op at Van
had a good sense of humor.
Get them right. Anyway, but so I'll be there and I will sign it. And I told Dennis too. I'm like, they better have your picture on that K, and if not, I'm going to bring print out a picture of you, and pin it to the top of the K. So I got to now do that. I don't know if they're going to leave it, but I'll do that anyway when I go in there. So. Anyway, so that'll be
and then the headline the next day will be Jersey man arrested for defacing giant K at Citi Field.
Of course.
You'll be known throughout social media land as Special K.
Special K. There you go. Anyway. All right. I want to give kudos, and I don't want to talk forever on it. And I know Harry can go down
I'm not talking. I'm done with baseball.
No, but I just want to give kudos to your Yankees. Great start.
Well, they're losing to the Marlins right now. So
right. Well, before tonight, great start.
I'll say one.
They're not undefeated, right? They've lost a game or two. So
they've lost two. I'll say one thing. Juan Soto has changed the identity of this team. He's vocal. Mm-hmm. He's a leader. And I'll tell you what, he's got this team looser than ever before. And his presence in that lineup has changed the potency. He's made a very mediocre lineup other than him and Judge way more productive based on his presence in that lineup. And I think, the Yankees are still dealing with their lineup's still missing some pieces, but his presence is way better than I thought it would be. And I'd like to give him credit for that. The other thing too, is that knock on some sort of piece of wood, Stanton's hitting the ball. He's still striking out like Dave Kingman, but he's hitting the ball. He just hit another home run tonight. He had a monster grand slam over the weekend. If that happens, then this Yankee team.
Yeah, no, they're pretty stacked.
Okay.
I mean,
they could be okay.
If Stanton stays healthy, if Rizzo stays healthy, if Volpe keeps hitting the ball, I mean, they have a murderer's row of sorts of
right. And
of a bench.
The big question mark has been the two people that I've been the most disappointed with as their tenure as a Yankee. Mm-hmm. Has been Stanton, who I just talked about, and Carlos Rodon.
Sure.
So far, Carlos Rodon has looked pretty good. About as good as you could expect from him. So if they can get decent starts out of Nestor and Rodon, mm-hmm. Stroman looks like he's going to be somebody who's going to be, okay. And they can get Cole back. They got a chance.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go too crazy over.
No. It depends on what happens with Cole, obviously. And on that note, just to pop back over the Mets for a second, I didn't mention it before. Kodai Senga, the Mets' remaining ace, just landed on the 60-day IL today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't expect to see him until 2025.
A lot of pitchers are dealing with injuries right now, and it has
And did
been
you
for the
see?
last
And did
2
you
years.
see that? You see the newest complaint from the Players
The
Association,
pitch clock, yeah.
the pitch
Yeah,
clock.
and
They're
then
getting hurt because of pitch clock.
and other players have come out and said it's bullshit. So,
Well, I mean, it's one of two things, right? It's either the pitch clock.
Alfred
Thank you.
Hitchcock.
Right. It's either the pitch clock in some way, shape, or form, or it's the fact that every pitcher is trying to throw 120 miles an hour.
I think it's both. I think it's all things combined.
You know,
Well,
Um,
I don't think it's the pitch clock.
I don't think it's the pitch clock alone, but
No, I don't think the pitch clock has anything to do with it.
I think that we're so focused on spin rate, and it's very hard for pitchers don't go deep into games, which you would think, okay, that should help their arm, but it doesn't because they go all out.
Right.
the 4 innings that they pitch, the wear and tear on their arms is like 14 innings.
Right.
And they've been going all out at a younger and younger age. Right. It's not just, they're pitching the way they used to through their high school years and college years, and then they get to the majors, and now they start cranking up the torque.
Well, here's
this
the thing.
is what they're being taught. You're not going to pitch very long, so throw as hard as you can, put as much spin on the ball as you can, get the most out of that 4 or 5 innings. And, you get when you've got guys that are throwing at that with that sort of whipping motion and putting that sort of strain on the human body, it's kind of not
rotation
built to do that.
It's the rotation in the arm.
Well, it's I think my son-in-law to be, I think, hit it on the nail on the head. He was on the Reds. He was drafted by the Reds. He made it to AA, but he blew out his UCL in his pitching arm. But he I think hit the nail on the head. Younger pitchers now are well, pretty much every pitcher now, right? It's not the older guys are retired, right? Every pitcher now, the younger kids, they're pitching. Years ago they pitched from March to August, maybe September.
No, you're pitching year round.
You're pitching 12 months a year. You're never not pitching. So your arm is twice as used by the time you're 22, 23 years old as it was 30 years ago.
Yeah, kids sports are year round now with travel teams and all that stuff. They don't get a break.
That's definitely a big part of it. The other part of it is that people are so focused on velocity and not about pitch placement and pitch variety. Right. There's look. Hitters don't hit for average anymore. But the power is so it's power against power. It's strikeouts and home runs.
Right.
And the pitchers who have longevity are able to nick and pick. And there's very little of that anymore. There really is. So it's interesting. The other thing too is I think is that while starters don't go as long, boy, I feel bad for people in the bullpen. These middle relievers are putting up innings that are just ridiculous.
Right.
And you almost have
so many of them.
Teams almost have to sign, enough of a bullpen staff. Just what starting pitchers that they're going to use in the middle of games.
Right.
You don't need 5 starting pitchers. You need 10 because half of them are going to fill in for the starting pitchers.
Yeah. The Yankees had starters, and if the game wasn't close, you finished the game, even if you gave up 5 runs. And then they had, Sparky Lyle and Goose Gossage, and that was 1 inning each, or maybe 2. If you didn't go 7 innings as a starter, you didn't do your job.
Right, because that's all they had, right? They had Goose Gossage and Sparky Lyle, and that was it.
Yeah. Well, look, what is the quality start? What is the criteria for a quality start?
6 innings.
You go 6, right? And what is it? Less than 3 runs or 4 runs?
6 innings and 6 innings, 3 runs. That's a quality start.
But you went 6 innings, which was, that was the bare minimum of what you were expecting.
Oh, yeah.
Starter back in the day.
Yeah.
I
mean, the setup guy didn't come into play until the late 70s, early 80s, and not many people used it. It's crazy. But now there's a setup to the help guy who's, it's insane.
What would Phil Niekro say today if he was taken out in the fourth inning of the game?
He'd say my spin rate is still 12 miles an hour, and I could still go 8 innings. But the one thing that would hurt Phil Niekro is the little bit of in-between innings checks.
Oh, yeah, that too.
He would have been thrown out of 12 games already, and he only started 6.
Exactly. Well, there you go. All right. Anything else on baseball?
Yeah, a couple quick things.
Go for it.
Oakland.
Where are they playing?
They're going to be.
Should I say West Sacramento?
West Sacramento.
That's right. We had this conversation offline. Yeah.
It's going to be the 8th. Here's my question: will they fill that stadium, which holds what 9,000 or something like that?
Well, let me ask one question. The marketing campaign for this, like the only reason I found out that Oakland was playing in West Sacramento is there was a little blip about it. So I'm like, I didn't even know this was happening. They haven't talked about any of this.
Yeah. Well, the real debate is. Oh, let me ask you guys where you come down on this, because I've heard both sides of this. I've been actually arguing with a friend of mine, a former coworker, and the city was not interested in having them kept around.
No.
And they wanted a new stadium and they wanted improvements. Now, granted, both sides are kind of at fault because the city hasn't done much.
No.
As in nothing for really upgrading those facilities and stuff for 30 years. But Oakland hasn't spent any money and tried to put a decent team on the field, although they have, as we've said many times, whether by hook or by crook or by accident, they've had a team that was at least interesting to watch and overachieving.
By the way, they have the same record as the Mets.
Right. They've sort of done more of their job than maybe the city has, but they want so much now, and the city said no thanks, so get out. But we'll keep they're just going to be the A's, right? Or no, the city's keeping the A's or whatever it is.
They're still called the Oakland Athletics as of right now.
Yeah, as of right now. So who's really more at fault here? Is it the city for doing nothing for decades, or the team for just?
I'm gonna say 50-50. I got to go 50-50. I have to go 50-50.
It's a divorce that's being dragged out. I mean, name one player on the A's.
Dave Stewart. All right. Well, listen, they're going to Vegas.
Yeah.
Vegas is going to be a great sports town, right? They have the Golden Knights there, and they'll have the A's Athletics, the Vegas A's, Vegas Aces. Probably change their name.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would
love. No, they've been the Athletics in 3 towns already. They're not going to change their name.
I would change their name and say, "Fuck you, Oakland."
Well, no, they were the Philadelphia Athletics. Then they were the Kansas City.
No, but I have to say to the city, we don't want anything. They're more known as, obviously, in the modern era as
well, of course, right? But
so, just.
I don't see that happening.
Yourself of Oakland altogether.
I don't see that happening. There's too many long-term, even familial relationship with the team. I don't think they're going to get rid of the A's or Athletics moniker. I don't really think that's going to happen. But quick side note, by the way, any baseball park chasers out there, this information, take it to heart, because if you have not been to Oakland, you need to go this year, or you're not going to go to Oakland. So get out there and see a game. If that's the last stadium on your list, get out there this year.
Getting in won't be a problem.
Yeah, you'll get a ticket.
No.
Just go. No. Just go. Yeah, they may just let you in. Just go. For the possibility of you buying something at a concession stand, they may just let you in. Yeah, go find a seat. Go.
I mean, I think what's interesting about this, though, is that can a city like Sacramento, which has a pro basketball team, can a mid-level city like this, can you have a Major League Baseball team?
I think they should have went to Bakersfield, actually.
Well, oh God, don't wish that on anybody. The only place worse than the worst parts of Oakland is Bakersfield.
There you go. Well, Fresno's not that bad either. So.
What happens if they go to West Sacramento and they are embraced, and the house is full?
That's what I mean.
Night,
that's what I mean.
And they're like, "We'll take them." You can. Do they then? I mean,
then I think Sacramento's on the list of potential
because the
future
deal's been
expansion
rocky.
sites.
The deal with Vegas has been rocky. It was on, then it was off. Now supposedly it's on again.
Well, no, it's on because the Tropicana closed. That's where they're putting the stadium, on the Tropicana property.
They're going to play inside the
Right.
Tropicana.
In the Tropicana, in the lobby of the Tropicana.
It's an indoor stadium.
Yeah.
16-foot ceiling heights in
That's
some
it.
areas. There's a
Domed
column.
Playing off the
column.
column over there is out,
stadium.
and this one is a home run
Right.
over here. Right there.
The left field
Well,
foul pole is
what
a
happens
slot
if
machine.
Sacramento embraces the team and says, "Hey, why don't you just stay here? We'll build you a new stadium." Although I don't think Sacramento has the money.
No.
Well, yeah.
But isn't that
I
that's
mean,
the capital of
what's
California, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, Trenton's the capital of New Jersey, and they're not going to support a Major League Baseball team.
They have the Thunder.
Yeah, but
Minor
Yeah,
league baseball
But
team.
you know what I'm
but nobody wants to go to Trenton.
Yeah.
Well, it's on the water, so you can go on
I'm
the
just
highway.
saying
and get there.
Sacramento
Yeah.
could be
Everything's on the
attractive.
water. My point
I
being
don't
is
know.
that what other city right now has a Major League Baseball team that would be a comparable comparison to Sacramento?
I can't think of one.
Can't think of one.
No.
So it'd be interesting because I think it would be wonderful for the game if Oakland, I think, would be the closest thing. I mean, I think what hurts the A's, and it probably hurt the Raiders and other teams, is that the proximity of being in the general San Francisco area. And while most teams the Giants baseball park is incredible, but it's a totally different experience than going to seeing a game in Oakland.
Right.
And I think that's what's hurting them. The
is.
Yankees and Mets, you could argue City Field's better than Yankee Stadium.
City Field blows away New Yankees.
But look, if the Yankees had a stadium on the water in downtown Manhattan, then it would be a different experience than going out to the middle of nowhere.
They should have. They didn't have. Instead of moving, they couldn't move. Right. Instead of building what they built, they should have renovated as best they could that original Yankee Stadium again, and that would still be a shrine, right? Because that new Yankee Stadium, and I've said it many times, I've been there. It's an office building with a ballpark in the middle. It's disgusting. But really
even the original
Yankee fans that I know that can't stand the Mets say City Field blows away Yankee.
But even the original Yankee Stadium, look, there's a lot of history there.
It's the history, right? It's a shit. It was a shithole,
but it's nowhere near the experience of a Fenway or
parts of it were.
No,
parts
it's
of it were.
not.
Not globally, not entirely.
There's something about being in an urban setting for a baseball game that completely changes the experience of that game.
Right. Fenway's phenomenal. I love Fenway Park.
Yeah. Same thing with why am I drawing a blank on where the
Wrigley
Cubs
Field?
play? Wrigley. Same thing I would say with whatever Giants stadium is called now. Oracle, yeah, whatever. There's Coors Field here, and look, we have a shitty team, but it's a great experience going down there to a game. And
I always tell everybody that I've been to Coors Field, but I haven't. I've only been outside Coors Field because I was there in October, and the Rockies usually don't play baseball in October.
Only once. That was a long time ago.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Anyway,
I think
I think it's interesting.
There you
Gonna do a little Are They For Real?
Yeah,
let's do it.
A few little spread here for Are They For Real, covering a couple of different sports.
There you go.
What is real?
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
Pretty sure none of that's real.
You're not real.
For real, for real, for real. Yeah.
Are you for real? For real? For real? For real?
Are they for real?
What is real?
All right. Let's let's stay with baseball for the first part of our Are They For Real? Just a couple of teams to talk about, one being the Los Angeles Angels.
All right.
Who are 6-6 without Shohei Ohtani. So let's say that Are They For Real in this context means, will they be amongst the top three teams in the AL West when it's all said and done at the end of the regular season?
In the AL West.
Yeah.
Will they be in the top three?
Will
they not top three?
No.
So Texas.
All right, so we're talking about Texas, Houston, Seattle.
They'll be in the top four.
Texas, Houston, Seattle, Angels, and A's.
That's how you think it's gonna. It's somewhere in that. So they will not crack the Texas.
Well, I would say if I went to it, I would say Seattle, Texas, Houston, Angels, A's. That's my top to bottom order. So no, they will not be in the top three. No,
they will not be in the top three. All right. Let's talk about the Pittsburgh Pirates next.
Somebody, I think it was Pete, had them winning that division.
They did.
Yeah. Will they be now? We're gonna change it just a little bit. Will they be in the top two in the NL Central?
Between the Brewers, the Cubs, the Cardinals, the Pirates, and
the Reds.
Top two, no. If you said top three, I'd say yes.
All right.
No.
I'm going to say yes. I think they'll be in the top two.
All right. Fair enough. I'll be at a game in PNC Park on July 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, July 8th.
Well, hopefully they have a good person singing the national anthem.
Well, it's a Mets game too. It's a Mets Pirates, so I won't be wearing.
So it'll be something lousy.
It'll be something lousy.
All right.
Violins travel.
Let's go to the ALE. The Mets take the violins with them everywhere they go.
They're cheap. They're cheap and fun.
All right.
It fits in the overhead compartment.
Let's go to the AL East and ask the simple question: who's more for real, Boston or Baltimore?
Baltimore.
Hey, I think equal. I think
you can say either right now, but I think by the end of the season, Baltimore will be Baltimore.
Yeah, I think Baltimore is going to have a little bit of expectation issues,
a hangover, if you will.
Nobody expected anything from them last year.
Kind of a sophomore slump,
and I don't think anybody expected anything from the Red Sox this year. So, I think they're both. I think that whole division's for real. We could have everybody could be at 500 or over in that.
You could have all three wildcard teams out of the AL East.
Yeah, we talked about this last year, and look, the Yankees had 2 less wins last year than the eventual World Series champion. So, and there was a horrible year for the Yankees. So, they're going to beat. The problem is they're all going to beat up on each other. So, I think the Reds. I think the Orioles are for real, but I think the Red Sox are a bigger surprise.
I do too. I think the Red Sox are playing better than I expected them to play. That's for certain. But I think by the end of the season, the Baltimore will be more for real than Boston. Yeah. If I as a Mets fan had my druthers, I'd pick Boston over the Baltimore Orioles. But yeah, I think Baltimore will be just. I mean, it could be a game or two. I think they're gonna.
I think any team in that division can win it or come in last.
Yeah, but the difference between winning it and coming in last could be 5 games.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
That is how you hedge your bet.
That's right.
All right, I'm going to say
it's like
Baltimore. I think Baltimore is slightly more for real. All right, same question. Washington Nationals, New York Mets. Who's more for real?
Oh, God.
The Atlanta Braves. That's my answer.
Oh, the Nationals. Without a doubt.
The Nationals going to, come out on top. John?
I said the Atlanta Braves. That's my answer.
Okay, the Braves. All right.
No, the probably. I honestly, I think. Well, to riff off of what Harry just said about the AL East, and in not the same context either, mind you. I think the Mets could either come in 3rd, 4th, or 5th. They're not coming in 1st or 2nd. The 1st or 2nd is the Braves and the Phillies. And I think
I agree.
Here's what the Braves, Phillies, Nationals, and Mets have going for them. They get to play a lot of games against the Miami Marlins.
Marlins, right? Exactly.
Yeah, what happened to the Marlins this year?
Well, they're beating the Yankees.
They're beating the Yankees right now. So
I think the Mets will be better than the Nationals. Remember, I just said they wouldn't win anything. I didn't say they'd never be any good, but
yeah.
No, they're going to be
They'll be
relevant.
mediocre. They'll be
I
mediocre.
really they're going to be average. They're going to be.
I think the Mets.
They won 79 games last year. They're going to win 80.
I think
they're
the
gonna win
Mets
83,
and Nationals are going to
82,
vie for
83,
that
84.
third place. I think the Atlanta and Philly is going to be 1-2.
Yeah.
I think the Mets and Nationals are going to go back and forth as to who's in third place and maybe vie for a wild card spot.
All right. Finally, National League West, the Battle of the Sands. Who's more for real, the San Diego Padres or the San Francisco Giants?
Giants.
I think the Padres.
Interesting.
The Giants are minus 15. They're 3-7 in their last 10, even though they have 5 wins.
I think it's just a slow start. I think
the Padres are. I think the Padres have shown me that they can win some tough games, and the Padres have played a tougher, beginning of the season competition. So I think the Padres.
And maybe listen, Arizona is having a whatever decent start, close to 500 start. And we talked about them early last season, looking promising or surprising. Maybe, if they can hang around a little bit and the Dodgers are the Dodgers, maybe San Diego can sort of just be the team that sort of chugs along without those expectations.
Without expectations, right, yeah.
And just stays in the background and kind of, plays well and then...
And comes on the last 2 weeks of September, and holy shit,
where
they come from, and there you go.
Playoff spot, and, we'll see.
Bogarts, Machado, Tatis. You're filling it in with guys like Tyler Wade. They got a pretty decent, 2 catchers with gosh. Look, I just think the Padres, while they lost Soto, they still have a lot of talent on that team.
Oh, they do. They do.
Yeah. And look, Soto's in the right place.
Right.
I think that was the thing with him was hard to find the right place for him. And he's like, when was the last time... see if you agree with me or not. Like, when was the last time the Yankees were fun?
And when they were winning multiple World
late 90s,
right? Like it's just
they were fun in the 80s too, but they were losing.
Right, but I mean, it just seems like with the expectations, they're just kind of this somber. You know what I mean?
Right.
This somber team of professionals that go about their bit.
Right.
And now Soto's there, and it seems like they're just they got another guy.
The most
they got another guy that can carry some of the weight. They got somebody else that can pick up the slack if and when Judge gets hurt or whatever. And they're fun.
Yeah.
They seem to enjoy. And the guy's infectious. They're enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
Well, they've got guys with mustaches again, and
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, let's switch gears here. We're going to go to golf because the Masters is coming up. Starting on Thursday.
Oh, I thought it started.
And
yeah, you're right.
there are, I believe, 13 players.
Televised this Thursday.
Yeah. 13 players from the Saudi Live Tour.
Oh.
That are playing in the Masters because they have exemptions.
Is this a collab?
It's a collab, yeah.
Yeah. They're former Masters winners or whatever they've done. So, who's more for real as far as winning the Masters? A live player or a non-live player? Let me see if I can pull up a list here.
Is John Rahm a live player?
John Rahm is a live player.
Live player, yeah.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, he was one of the biggest opponents to the Live Tour, and then they gave him $600 million, and he said, yeah, okay. Although now he's saying they should
merge.
To play at 54 holes, they should play 72, like the PGA. But the LIV stands for 54. That's why the tour is named that.
Right.
So they would have to change it to whatever 72 is in Roman numerals.
Mm.
All right, here's your list.
LXXIV.
Here's your list.
Lixiv.
Bryson DeChambeau, the mad scientist, gets the U.S. Open exemption. Sergio Garcia, past champion. Terrell Hatton, qualified, whatever, doing it. Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
PGA champion, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian Meronk wins for top something. I don't know what it stands for. OWGR, whatever that is. Mickelson, Joaquin Neiman, special invitation. John Rahm, Patrick Reed, Charles Schwartzel.
Charles.
It's Charles. I thought it was Charles.
I thought it was Charles too, but
No, well, either way, maybe they left off the E and the S.
maybe it's the same guy that typed up the soft
Herman
cheese
Edwards story.
the soft cheese toilet seat.
Cameron Smith and Bubba Watson. So who is more for real? One of those clowns or the field?
Well, is Scheffler or McElroy part of the Live Tour?
No.
Okay. How about Brooks Koepka is and John Rahm is?
They're both.
Koepka is. John Rahm is.
I would say that those are the top.
The big names here would be,
Right.
I think, Dustin Johnson, Rahm.
How about
Koepka.
Jordan Spieth?
No, Spieth is not. You might put Mickelson in there.
Right.
Maybe he's got one more in him.
I'm going to say it's even, but I think that overall, I think if you're looking at it, you Scheffler, McElroy, Rahm,
McElroy's desperate to win one.
Yeah, maybe Spieth. I think there's a lot of pressure on Rahm. He's been playing great, but I would say that it's close. But if I had to pick live or non-live to win it this year, I'm going to go non-live.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I'm, they do this like next year, the year after. Yeah, Liv's going to start winning it, but I think PGA non-Liv's going to win it this year. Yeah, I mean and Harry's right. It's going to be close. It's going to come down to the last hole on Sunday. But
with Rahm and Koepka, I'd be tempted to take the Live Tour.
Yeah, those are too good. But Koepka's, he's good, but I'm not sure his strength is this course. And
the power game doesn't always win at the Masters.
Yeah,
but all right, yeah. Well, listen, Tiger Woods said he thinks if everything falls right, then he could win.
Yeah, if everything falls right too, I would have.
If everything falls right, I could win. So
if everything fell right, I could score 14 points and have 8 rebounds in the Nuggets game tonight.
All right, last one. Let's talk about our men's and women's NCAA basketball tournament championship coaches.
All right.
Staley's got 3, Hurley's got 2. Who's more for real? Who ends up with more championship titles?
Well, I think it depends. I mean, I think that.
Oh, of course, it depends.
In the men's game, okay, with the exception
depends on who wins more.
It's not written. Let me say this. Gods have not decreed that thou
in the men's game, we have not seen teams really win it in giant clumps since Duke, UConn's kind of we've had some repeat champions, but. In the women's game, they kind of win, and then Staley's been at it a while, and she's won with, same thing with
teams. Yeah.
They kind of win. Their longevity seems to be there. They're always in the running. There's more opportunity, I would say. They're more consistent. I would say, ask me in another year or two, because if Danny Hurley, let me finish this. If Danny Hurley wins one more. Then I think you're looking at him winning 5, 6, 7.
Right. Well, that's where I was going with that. I think you're going to see a 3-peat next year. I'm not saying it's going to be a 4 in a row the year after, but I think UConn's going to win a 3rd next year, and I think you're going to see him, within 3 years later, winning another 1 or 2. So yeah, I think Hurley's probably going to win more than Staley.
I also think that Staley's in a position to win another one next year.
She may be. Yeah.
I think that South Carolina team, even though she's going to be losing some players, they're deep, and she's going to get some of them back, I believe. So,
so neither one of you is willing to commit to an actual name at this point.
What are we talking about? 10 years from now, who's going to have the most?
I say
career,
Hurley.
Yeah, career.
I say Hurley.
I'm going to go with Dawn Staley. I think she's in it for the long haul. I don't think Danny Hurley's going to coach forever. That's why.
And she's
young though.
She's young. Yeah,
they're both young.
They're both young.
If I had to choose, I would say Hurley. Although it might be easier to win in the women's game.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I just if even if UConn doesn't win next year, if they're good, if they're in it, they're just with these past 2 seasons, they're just going to be a draw for all the good players.
I think with the women's, I think next year you're going to see both UConn teams win next year. I do. I think the women's UConn team will win next year over. I mean, because obviously San Francisco. South Carolina's losing players.
If you're a top,
Angel Reese is leaving LSU. Caitlin Clark's leaving Iowa. I think next year you're going to see UConn women and UConn men both win the tournament.
All right. Well, I mean, UConn's best player is leaving on the women's side.
Is she?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for Are They For Real?
All right.
None of us know.
I'm going to go with Dawn. I think she's great.
How about maybe? That's what we have. That's our answer. Maybe.
The answer, who's going to win more, is yes.
Yes, exactly.
Raven Johnson and Tessa Johnson are definitely coming back for South Carolina. I don't know who's returning for the UConn men's, but we shall see.
Are the UConn men's playing the South Carolina Gamecock women's?
Why not?
Why not?
Plus this whole transfer portal thing. I don't know. I mean, maybe when Bronny doesn't get drafted, he'll show up on the UConn men's team.
There you go.
Or maybe on the UConn women's team.
Well, he'll get more playing time. That's what he's looking for.
Do you like that reel I sent you guys the other day with LeBron laying in the...
So sick.
He's not. What's wrong with him? Nothing. He's just being over dramatic as usual.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway. All right. Cool.
Just one other thing. Just mention this quickly.
Go ahead.
Caitlin Clark is apparently. I don't know if you would know what the Big 3 league is. It's Ice Cube.
Yeah, Ice Cube.
$5 million. They offered her supposedly.
Yeah.
Play in the Big 3 league. There would be, I think, conflicts with 2 games with Indiana.
Yeah, it was going to be her, Alonzo Mourning, and Charles Oakley.
2 to clear things out.
Yeah.
Set some screens, and then you just shoot the 3. If you're her, though, why would I would do it?
Why not?
Yeah, I think it's a conflict
just
with
to play not even 20
the
games.
National team. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
all right.
Go Caitlin Clark. Cash in while you cash in.
Exactly. All right. Cool. One quick thing on football. 2 weeks from tonight is our draft show. It's the night before the draft. That's going to be a fun show. We do it every year. And
2 weeks from tonight. That's good because I have to start looking at.
You start looking at who's going in the draft. But speaking of the draft, Harry came up with something earlier. And you were talking about Mr. Kuiper, and go ahead, please.
Well, if you pay extra money to get ESPN Plus, you get to get the insider's look of a schizophrenic picking draft picks. I feel like number one, I love Mel Kiper, but somebody at ESPN needs to give him a little bit of a makeover. He's still rocking the same haircut. He's got glasses from Lens Crafters in 1975. He looks like he was doing mushrooms for 3 weeks, came out from under a rock, and then took everything he said before and changed it up completely. If you listen to
Mel Kiper looks exactly like he did in 1975.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 weeks ago, he had JJ McCarthy, I think, going in the 7th round, and now he's the 7th pick. He had Bo Nix, people moving up to get Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix, and now they're going in the 3rd or 4th round. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's hilarious. It's so hilarious. It's like if I have 12 different versions of my draft, that I'm bound to get at least 2 or 3 of the top 10 picks right. It's just,
who
are these experts? Why is he an expert? He never gets anything right.
Yeah,
we said it last year, and I standing by it. I think it's too late this year, but I do want to lobby that the 3 of us actually do our picks all year, and we have boards and we have shows. We are no different than them
How many?
In fact,
I
tend to think that we might even be better than them because
how many?
all they're
How
doing
many?
is
How many of the top 10
every day.
How many of the top 10, maybe not in the right order, but how many of the top 10 of the draft last year did I get? Of my 10 choices, how many of them were in the top 10?
Last year,
I think it was like 6 or 7.
You had like 7 or 8, actually.
Yeah. So that's
the year
way better. That's way
before,
better than Mel Kiper's every time.
Yeah, the year before I had 7 or 8 and in different orders. The year before that, Pete had 7 or 8.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And we only had one. We only had one version
and one list.
Yeah, one list.
One list.
Yeah.
There are people making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year doing mock drafts that mean absolutely nothing. It's just insane. Anyway, that's my rant.
It's ridiculous. So yeah.
Right.
So you want to tune in to our show 2 weeks from tonight.
Please.
That's going to be the show to watch. Forget about Mel Kiper. Forget about all the other buzz. Forget about all the crawls down to the bottom of who this one thinks and who that one thinks is going to go. Watch our show. That's where you're going to get the most of your information. And if you're going to go on DraftKings the next day before the draft starts, you're going to want to listen to our show that night for your picks, not anybody else's.
Let's say we'll be just as bad as everybody else.
We're not going to be any worse.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I might be.
And we might be better.
Pete will have some sort of
Pete,
unexplainable hatred towards somebody.
Well, Pete has a punter going third.
Yes.
Yeah. And a long snapper in the number 10 spot. So.
Right. Exactly.
That's right.
You'll see. You'll see when I'm right.
When was the last time a kicker was picked in the first round? It's a good question.
Was it Janikowski?
Let's see.
I think it was Ray Guy.
Was it Ray Guy?
Was
yeah, it was Ray Guy. It was Ray Guy.
Was it? Oh, yeah, kicker. Yeah.
Punter. Yeah.
All right. Oh, so do we have anything else for football? I have 2 quick things.
No.
Yeah, go for it.
Boy, we should be loving the Texans next year, right?
Or hating them.
Well, you hate them, but they're going for it.
I'm like, I got to be honest with you. I'm like a closet Texans fan right now. I love CJ Stroud. I love what he's doing.
Yeah.
And
they got
Tank Dell and.
Well, the Giants got their running back, and then they got
Singletary back.
Yeah.
No, who's the Texans running back?
It was Singletary. It was Singletary, and the Giants took Singletary. I don't know who they signed. They did sign somebody though.
Yeah.
Didn't they sign the guy from Dallas? No.
Tony Pollard.
Yeah.
Maybe they did.
Yeah.
Maybe they did.
So, yeah, I think it was Pollock, and they're now bringing in Stephon Diggs.
Right. Yeah.
From the Bills. So they're not fucking around.
Yeah, no, I gotta be honest with you. I think that's a fun team to watch. I do. I think
it is too.
A fun team to watch. Yeah.
So here's my other question that's related to that. Look, the Bills have cap issues with Josh Allen. $47 million next year, and then $56 million the year after that. That's the last 2 years of his contract.
Right.
So obviously, they're giving him less and less support and expecting him to do more and more, which we have seen is not the answer. It can't be Josh Allen throws, Josh Allen runs, Josh Allen throws, Josh Allen throws, Josh Allen runs. So where does he go after these 2 years are up?
Well,
he is sick of being in Buffalo and goes, okay, we had our window, couldn't get it done, and then you guys gave away all my good players.
I got to be honest with you. If you listen to the pundits out there right now, and then a lot of them are talking about Josh Allen. And obviously, I'm mainly talking about the Northeast, but in general, there's a lot of them all over the place that are talking about it. They seem to think that there might be a way for Josh Allen to leave the Bills this year, and he would wind up being in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Well,
Well, I want to see how he does with no receivers for 1 year before we say, "Hey, come to a team with even worse receivers."
Well, not necessarily this year.
Yeah. One thing I got to tell you.
You're right. That would be a mirror image.
Sure. Well, I got to be honest with you though. I'm not too keen and too happy about what Darren Waller's doing. He won't give the Giants an answer as to whether he's retiring or coming back before the draft. No, whatever. Yeah, but he won't tell him before the draft.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they have Bellinger. They have.
If Josh Allen wants to come to the Giants, then great. Of course, what will happen is the Giants will pay way too much for him and give up way too much, so they can't put any talent around him.
Right.
But yes, but yeah,
come
on down. How old is Josh Allen now? 30.
He's the same age as He was 22 in 18.
He's 27. He's going to be 20. He's going to be 28 in a month.
He's going to be 28.
Yeah.
So come on down.
But you don't want him to get the shit beat out of him this year and then bring him
No,
in.
I want him to get the shit beat out of him in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Like
right. You don't want him to get beat up in Buffalo.
I want my
then
team
come
to
the
allow him
Giants.
to get the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah, there we go.
So,
all right.
All right.
What else we got?
All right, that's it. Let's go. Let's touch on.
By the way, Joe Mixon is who the Texans.
Joe Mixon. That's
there
right.
you go.
Pick
Yeah.
up that.
So they brought in. Look, he's not a superstar, but he's a pretty good running back.
They had another guy too, a backup. I can't remember his name, who's also pretty productive last year. So.
Yeah. So good running back, good receiver, good young quarterback. Coach who seems to know what he's doing.
There you go.
The ghost of what's his name, who went to Cleveland, Massage Boy, excised now.
Right,
Watson.
a highly irritating,
Watson,
a very irritating receiver with lots of demands and a prima donna attitude. What could go wrong?
Exactly.
Yeah,
And,
but that's where he's been everywhere. But he also is productive.
right.
Okay,
Right.
we'll see.
He has been. All right, just a quick aside on NBA. We're going to talk more about that over the next in the next show.
Weeks.
2 weeks, next couple weeks as we get into the playoffs. Knicks right now, I believe, are tied with they're one game behind the second seed, and they're in third. All along. Yeah. So and Denver is
Technically tied for first. They're playing the Timberwolves
right
now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Knicks are a game behind the Bucks for in third place, a game behind the Bucks for second place.
Free fall right now,
and the Bucks are in free fall, and obviously they're not catching the Celtics, but
they beat them last night, and luckily for them, Giannis's injury is not serious. Hottest team in the NBA right now. Go, don't think about it. Go. Who's the hottest team in the NBA?
Hottest team in the NBA, Knicks.
Nope.
Pelicans.
Nope. The Dallas Mavericks.
Oh yeah, Mavericks.
Right,
yeah. Isn't it strange that what's his name? Doncic,
Luka Doncic.
Doncic and Kyrie.
Luka Doncic.
My name is Luka.
My name is Doncic.
Luka and Kyrie is actually working.
Yep. Two hottest teams are the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Question. Karl Anthony Towns is set to come back this week for the Timberwolves. Are they better with him or without him?
Without him.
I think they're better with him.
We'll see. We shall see.
Harry's on the fence.
Minnesota scares me. If I had to pick tonight's game on the road, I think they're going to beat the Nuggets, and I think they're going to beat them soundly. The Nuggets do not match up well against the Timberwolves. That's my prediction. I hate to say it, but that's my concern. I think Minnesota might be the best team in the NBA, and the other team that scares me right now are the Philadelphia 76ers with Joel Embiid coming back. Anyway, that's my NBA roundup.
That's your NBA roundup?
All right, one question for me. Who's worse, the Lakers or the Warriors?
Well, the Warriors are 8-2, I think, in their last right or something like that. Golden State's 8-2 in their last 10, and the Lakers are 7-3. So I don't want to really face either of them. The Lakers might jump. They have a chance of jumping Sacramento and Phoenix and getting out of the play-in. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's an interesting 4 teams there. They're all separated by half a game or a game.
It's true.
In the win column. The NBA. How many games we got left?
3.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
Men 79. 3 games.
70, 80. Yeah, Lakers have played 80.
You can either believe me or you can do math.
Well, neither one is.
I enjoy math.
There's 3 games left. 79, carry the 1, take your shoes off, socks. 5, 3, 4, 3, 7, 3 games left. Carry the 1.
Carry the 1. All right. Well, there you go. And a quick nod to excuse me.
Thank you. Oh, bless you. Goodness gracious.
The NHL.
Nathan McKinnon, MVP, baby.
There you go.
Here's my.
Well, I got my question for you. Will the Rangers win the President's Trophy?
How many games? This is a question I don't know. How many games left are there in
3?
3.
Like 3, yeah.
And the Rangers are 3 points in front of all other teams for.
Well, no, they're only 1 point ahead of Dallas.
Yes, they're right. You're only 1 point ahead of Dallas. You're right. They are. That's up tonight.
Who's jumped ahead of Colorado, which is crazy.
Yep, that's up tonight.
Dallas and Dallas. Some hot teams in Dallas.
I think they will.
Dallas 9-1-0 in their last 10.
Much as it pains me to say, I think the Rangers will.
I think Dallas beats them.
Okay, so you two are split on that. And my other question is, do the Rangers get, not win, get to the Cup?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
All right.
The team, of course, you're going to always have your Tampa Bays and your fucking stupid teams that come out of nowhere that suck during the regular season. Florida and Boston. I think the Rangers are the best team in the East. I think they are going to go to this Cup.
All right.
I think they're going to win the President's Trophy. And oh wait, did you just say go to or win?
I didn't say win.
Go to the Cup.
Go to the
Cup. No, I hate them. They're not going to go.
I think we're going to have
I think they're going to win the President's Trophy, which means they won't win the Cup because that happens a lot.
Although the last
time,
I
hate them, I hate them, so then I'm not going to say they're going to go.
The last time the Rangers won the President's Trophy, they won the Stanley Cup.
But
that was 30 years ago.
It was also before flip phones.
It was 30 years ago.
Yeah. So no, they're not going to even get there.
All right, New York Rangers, Colorado Avalanche, NHL Stanley Cup Finals.
That could possibly be that could possibly be what it is. Yeah, absolutely. That'll be interesting. I'll go back and forth. I'll come out and watch a game with you. Okay. Well, there you go. All right.
All right. Here's a quick question about hockey for you.
You got it.
Austin Matthews. Should he dial it back a little bit, rest up a little bit for the playoffs, or should he keep pushing and trying to get to the 70-goal mark?
Keep pushing.
Keep pushing.
Well, they got 3 games left. He's a young kid. Keep pushing.
Yeah, I agree.
100%. All right. Cool. All right. We have a 4. We got a quick 4. Got to stay.
Oh God, we're still going.
Ooh, okay, cool.
We got a quick 4. We got a quick 4. Got to stay.
Save the best for last.
Absolutely. All right, this week's 4 got to stay. I just had to do it because I have it written in here. I just got to do it.
All right, quick.
I want to do it last year. No, it'll be quick. 4 got to stay. Easter candy.
Oh God.
Easter candy. There you go. All right, you got the drill. I'm gonna give you 6. 4 got to stay. 2 got to go. Write these down. Ready? Here we go.
All right.
Chocolate bunnies.
Oh, that's classic.
All right. Peeps.
No.
All right. Cadbury cream eggs.
Cream eggs, huh?
These Cadbury cream eggs. These right here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The ones with the chocolate outside and the
yeah.
gooey
Sure. Yeah.
Reese's peanut butter eggs.
Oh yeah, now we're talking.
All right. Jelly beans. All right. And Hershey's candy covered milk chocolate eggs.
Those are great.
The candy covered milk chocolate eggs.
Well, we got 3 eggs on here.
So chocolate bunnies, Peeps, Cadbury cream eggs, Reese's peanut butter eggs, jelly beans, and Hershey's candy covered milk chocolate eggs. Pete, go first.
All right, I need a clarification. Chocolate bunnies solid or chocolate bunnies hollow?
Either. Your preference for that one.
Okay.
A little bit of both. Hollow body.
Yeah, the body's hollow, the head and the ears are solid. Kidding.
That doesn't exist.
It could be solid. It could be solid or hollow.
All right. All right.
What do you think?
Well, I'm going to leave Hershey's. Actually, what is it called? Hershey's.
The Hershey's candy covered milk chocolate eggs.
Those are good.
All right. I have to look at this because I don't think I've ever had one. Let me.
Let's get the hard candy shell.
Oh, so it's just a hard candy.
It's basically a big egg-shaped M&M. Is basically what it is.
Lump of chocolate inside.
Yeah.
It's kind of boring. It's kind of hard to find too many keepers on this list. All right. Well, chocolate bunnies, solid, yes.
Whatever your preference is.
Hollow,
insert that
no. But well, say solid, so they say. So they say. Peanut butter eggs, yes.
All right.
Jelly beans, I could take or leave. I don't really get the draw of jelly beans. They're just chewy little gobs of whatever.
Jelly.
Yeah. Well, that's what they profess to be, but I'm not sure that they're actually made of jelly.
Right.
They're made of gelatin.
Right. Sugar and gelatin.
Hershey's milk chocolate Easter eggs candies. Whatever, candy covered, whatever you call them.
Right.
I guess I'll keep them because it is just a big lump of chocolate in the middle.
By the way, this research is now going to be double what he's doing for the draft.
Oh,
100%.
At least. I mean, they seem sort of pedestrian. It didn't take very long. We need one more candy, guys, in the Hershey's boardroom. Why don't we just take an egg-shaped thing of chocolate and just take a chocolate egg and put some fucking candy shell around it?
Yeah.
Winner. But we'll keep them on the list. Peeps is gone. They're useless. Unless you got rats. Unless you got rats that you want to kill.
They are the Draymond Green of Easter.
And then you give them jelly beans, I guess I'll keep because Cadbury cream eggs, let's face it, they're full of jizz. So
yeah, I fucking hate those.
Yeah, I mean it's like
you want one?
If there was maybe 2/3 less cream stuff inside.
Now the hard Cadbury ones without the mini Cadbury ones without the cream inside, delicious.
Yes.
Yeah,
but the
those
big
are
ones
great.
have all that gloppy stuff.
I don't want a jizz egg.
Anything you take a bite out of and it can shoot up onto your face.
I don't like when the cream is not a real cream. It's like a weird clear. It looks like silicone.
Yeah. That's like that was a mistake.
They did in the last few years. They actually did make a peanut butter version of those.
No, they can't make up for it.
No. That's pandering.
All right.
Peeps and cream eggs are gone.
Yeah, 20 minutes ago, I came up with
jelly beans are half gone because there's nothing particularly.
20 minutes ago, I came up with the same.
Right.
So
you're the same. Chocolate bunnies, Reese's peanut butter eggs, jelly beans, and Hershey's candy covered.
But
it's not because I love all of those. It's because Peeps and Cadbury eggs can fucking suck it.
Now, chocolate bunnies.
Chocolate bunnies are good.
No, but would you say either hollow or solid?
I don't love the solid only because A, it's way too much chocolate, and B, I feel like you need to get a knife involved and a chisel, and if it's too big, I'm not biting into that. I like the hollow. I like cracking it. I like peeling off a little piece. I don't like too much sweets. So I feel like you could share that with somebody, or somebody could give you a little hunk of it, and you're good. So I'm all right with that.
The thing I like about the solid is that when you bite it, you can leave like the bite, like the teeth marks, like the bite marks.
Stop bragging.
And I enjoy it. Like you take a bite out of the bunny's face.
You could also leave your dentures behind.
Well, listen. You get new teeth,
right? Yeah.
True.
Chocolate bunnies are great.
Peanut butter eggs can't go wrong.
But my favorite Easter candy are those little Cadbury solid guys. There's some magic in those.
Oh, the little small like discs almost. Yeah, they're good. They're good.
A little airy malt.
It's funny. It's funny you say that. They're almost like perfect size. The shape of them Open it up, pop
fucking
it in,
great.
done. You know,
They're great. Exactly.
How-
two
how
or three,
big
and you're
are
done.
Yep.
How big are the candy coated milk chocolate eggs?
Eggs, maybe a tiny little bit bigger than jelly beans.
All right, yeah,
That sounds
okay.
pretty
They're good then. I thought from the picture it looked like they were kind of.
It's an
big.
M&M shaped like an egg.
It's a bigger
It's not
M&M.
like egg size. It's not
No,
like actual egg.
No,
size.
it's a bigger M&M. It's
a popper. You pop it in your mouth. You don't break it.
Right.
So it's
All
like
right,
the
yeah,
size
so
of you put
okay.
3 M&Ms together. That's the size of them.
All right, so that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It's actually a tiny little bit bigger than the peanut M&Ms, but no peanut. It's all milk chocolate inside.
By the way, I think
Well, it's
Easter's.
just like a
I
peanut in the
think
middle of it.
Easter was trending this year. I feel like there was so much more Easter this year than in recent years. I just feel like it's back. Easter's back, baby.
Easter's back. Easter's back. Yeah.
You know, we were driving to Florida.
No
on
pun
Easter,
intended.
I know.
And like for a brief moment, we all kind of went, oh, because usually we get together with the family and we color literally dozens of eggs, like 6 or 7 or 8 dozen eggs.
Right.
And then there's a big contest with all different categories. Who's got the best color? Who's got the ugliest egg? Who's got the most creative? We have all this going on. You know, there's like 15 people involved. And this year, none of that happened for us. And so for a brief moment, we kind of went, oh, we're not doing the Easter egg and all that. And then we landed in Orlando where it was warm and not raining. And we were like, yeah, it's okay. We don't mind. We don't mind.
You're good.
And my wife is asking about, now my 2 sons are 19 and 22. And she's going, oh, do you miss the Easter egg hunt? You know, she always like goes through this elaborate, sets up Easter eggs and, you know, hides them and all this stuff. And they were like, Ma, we're in college.
We're hunting for other things.
We don't, you know, but I mean, it's nice. But you know.
Eggs to a point, right? But
Yeah. But like she lays out candies like all on the banister.
Right.
And like, you know, we used to take the plastic eggs and put money in them and put them outside. But then the squirrels stole
that I would take. If somebody wanted to give me an egg full of cash, I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, but the squirrel stole a couple of them that had like $20 bills in.
Fucking squirrels.
We're like, oh man, the squirrel's got $40. So we
funny.
don't do that anymore.
Don't do that anymore. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of cool that, you know, she does it every year, but they're like, yeah, I mean, they're just, you know, they're blasé about so much.
There you go. All right. Do we have an over under? Are we good?
God, I hope not.
No, I don't think so.
All right. 2 weeks from tonight, our draft show.
Riveting.
Don't miss that. Riveting. No, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun show. It's going to be a fun show. It always is. It's always a fun show. All right.
Yeah.
On that note, we will wrap the show for today. We want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thank you for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast. And of course, all of our shows are available on YouTube as well on the Log Room channel. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Twitch every other Wednesday night around 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. And for those of you just want to
bitches, live.
Exactly. And for those of you just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on our audio host, Spreaker, as well as iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey, Audible, Google Podcasts, Amazon
Go to the
Podcasts,
places you normally
Tune in, Podcast Addict, Castbox, Deezer, Podchaser, Refonic, pretty much anywhere you can find an audio podcast, you will find the Get On With It Sports podcast. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Remember
the Alamo.
A week from this Saturday in Denver,
right.
Colorado, April 20th. Take it away, Harry.
Log, Saturday, April 20th, a special guest, Bolognium. Get your tickets online at bandwagonpresents.com or go to the Mercury Cafe. Follow us at Log Noise on Instagram or just call me. You have my number.
Exactly. All right. There you go. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Check out the getonwithit.com, getonwithitpodcast.com website because our articles are starting. New articles are coming out on that as well. So you want to check them out. They'll obviously be posted on the Facebook page. Yeah, absolutely. Wow. And we will talk to you soon, folks. Take care. Cheers.
Bye, everybody. Watch the Masters.